Thanks again for joining us for another episode of our programming here in the heart of Vienna. I'm here today with Christof Zellenberg. I would like to call him a pit bull for orthodoxy, and I'd like to welcome him to the program. Christof,
hello.
It's great to see you.
Nice to be here.
The first question I'm going to have for you relates to a story, and the story starts like this. I know a Scottish couple, and the husband is a convert, and the wife is not. She's Catholic, cradle Catholic, and they married. And the husband, after about 10 years, says, when do I stop being a convert? You keep referring to me as a convert. When do I become a Catholic? You're a convert. Do you ever have this problem?
Well, I wouldn't call it a problem, but yeah, there are people who are saying, well, you need to be very much evolved into your faith, etc., because you're a convert. And I always think, no, it's not because I'm a convert, because I'm Catholic, full stop. I think everyone should be Catholic and act like a Catholic.
You converted your family, or reconverted your family. Tell me about that.
No, I did not convert anyone. It's God. I converted. I took the decision. I was Protestant because my grandparents turned Protestant. My family always was Catholic, but then due to reasons and circumstances in history, they became Protestant, both sides, father and mother side. And so my father and my mother were Protestant. And at some point, and we were praying at home, blah, blah, but then at some point, when I entered university, actually rather late, I started to dig deeper into the matter of God. And
why?
Because I met people. It's always about friends and circles that you're in. So I always recommend my sisters who are having a lot of kids care about the circles that your kids are in, because you're kind of shaped by the environment to a certain extent. And I was shaped by my environment. I met a couple of incredibly lovely priests. Priests, I'm so grateful. Very funny. We were having boxing championships with them, and we were going hiking, etc., etc. Just great guys. And they asked a couple of questions, simple questions about life. Who am I? What do I want to achieve in life?
They asked you these questions?
Yeah, they asked me these questions, and then I started to ask myself, because they just opened a door of digging deeper into the reason why we are here, and where are we coming from, where are we going to. So at some point you start contemplating about God. Obviously for me that was no doubt, He exists, and I dare to say that, even so it might sound strange, but I once had the privilege, the gift, the grace that I really met Him. I had the chance to talk to Him, and I know I'm not a believer anymore. I am, if you can say, I'm a knower. I know that He exists. It's not that I need to believe in something that I hope in. I know that He exists because I spoke to Him, and He spoke to me, and it was incredible. So anyway, so at some point you start asking yourself the question whether you're on the right track. And then if you read the Bible, there are certain parts that are very important to me, like the role of Saint Peter, a position that was created by God, by Jesus Christ Himself. He gave him the keys to the kingdom of heaven. And I thought, well, in my church, there is no Saint Peter. No one is the bearer of the keys. But there is this strange Catholic church, and they have the bearer of the keys. I should rather be there. And then confession. Whomever you forgive the sins, they are forgiven, and whomever you behold the sins, they are beheld. So where is this in the Protestant church? There is nothing like that. You need to deal that out with God yourself.
So confession actually attracted you in the church.
Wow, that's the best. That's the best. Beside the Holy Sacrament, it's amazing. It's amazing. Really, honestly, there are three things in the church. Three things. If you enter a church, the physical building, you look, where is the red light? You see the tabernacle, the tent of God. You kneel down, you bow down, and you greet Him, because He's there. He's physically there. Nowhere else, if you go to a Protestant church, if you go into a mosque, if you go into a synagogue, it's empty. It's houses of prayers, but it's empty. The Catholic Church is the only one, well, and the Orthodox Church is true, Orthodox and Catholic Church, but you can really talk to him. He is there. It's amazing. So one thing. The second, confession. If you go into confession, and if you really understand what you're doing, you know, I'm not talking to the priest, Mr. X. He's there physically, it's the priest, but it's Jesus Christ who uses this priest in order to talk to me and to forgive my sins. But it's Jesus himself who forgives the sins. So whenever I go into confession, I know that I'm talking right to Jesus himself.
The priest is there in persona Christi.
In
yes.
persona Christi, yes. The priest actually, if you want to be tough, he's not there. I don't see the priest. I see Jesus Christ. I talk to Jesus Christ. And if he says your sins are forgiven, then it's Jesus Christ who forgives me my sins. This is amazing. Where else do you have that on this planet? You can talk to God. You can kneel down in front of him. You can say, I did this and that. Sorry. And he says, forget it.
Everything
I'm
is
with
forgiven.
You. Everything is forgiven. This is amazing. It's only the Catholic Church. And then it's the role of St. Peter, the Pope, the Vicar of Christ. I was in Lebanon once, and we met many different leaders of different churches, Orthodox Church and Protestant, blah, 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 blah. And there was one Orthodox bishop who told me, you do not even understand how blessed you are to have the Pope, the successor of St. Peter. Because whenever we talk here in Lebanon, all these churches together, this one has this opinion and this one has that opinion, da, da, da. But if you talk to Catholics,
It's always
if
the
there
same.
is a doubt, if there is a doubt about anything, you just ask the Vicar of Christ, what do you say? And you know what the Catholic Church stands for. There is a message, one universal message of this one church. This is a huge gift. You only feel that in the diaspora. If you're just Catholic, you're sitting in the Catholic Church, I would like to have it this way, or I would like to have it that way. And this is exactly the problem of all the other churches. They understand the gift of St. Peter. We often tend to forget. But I love St. Peter. I love the Pope. It's amazing.
You love the fullness of the truth.
I love, yes, exactly.
I have another friend, true story. Started out as a Catholic, became a missionary for the Jehovah's Witnesses, was in Africa, went to France, became a Baptist. When he was in France as a Baptist, returned to the Catholic faith, went to Mexico, worked in Mexico as a Catholic missionary, came back to the United States, left the Catholic Church and became Orthodox. What would you say to a person like that?
Weird. He got a problem. He got a problem. Can you decide, man? That's what I would say. Can you just make a point? I mean, that's crazy. But
when I was introduced to him, I was told, we call him the rabbi. It's the only thing he hasn't been yet.
Oh, right. Wonderful. He should try that. Anyways, well, I can't relate to that because, you know, if you really, I was a Protestant and I found everything. Everything is there. The universality of truth is there. How can I leave that? How can I say, well, truth is good, but just 80% of it is enough? Or 65%? No. I want to have everything. Come on, I'm an egoist. I want to have everything, everything. Give me more. And it's only the Catholic Church who can give you all that.
That's true. You're not a shy type at all.
I try to be at points.
Yes. You're not a shy type. You're frequently seen on Austrian TV in all kinds of debates. You really, as we say in America, you don't pull your punches. You go straight for the jugular vein. Boom. And I can tell you really enjoy it. Now, there's an obvious answer to this question, but why did you become an investment banker instead of a journalist?
Because I like to do things, not write about other people doing things.
Ah, I thought you were going to say because investment banking pays better.
That's the second reason. No, but no, it was not about the money. When I left university, and I was in the States for some time, and I worked in politics, very much in politics, and I was there with the Leadership Institute in DC, etc., and the Heritage Foundation. I even was in the U.S. Congress, working for a congressman from Texas once. Anyway, so then I came back and I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to go into politics because I wanted to do something real before and then take all this experience from real life and bring it into the service for the people. And that's politics. It's a service for the people. And many politicians are just politicians. They don't know anything about real life. And how can they then solve the real life problems of the people? Anyway, so, and then there were a couple of friends who said, if you really want to learn a lot, because first you need to learn. The learning curve needs to be very, very steep, because we don't have much time, you know, we need to be very efficient. And the steepest learning curve for me was in investment banking and in mergers and acquisition, M&A. This is the crown jewel of investment banking. So
you have a doctorate in economics, correct?
No, just a master, unfortunately. Very humble me, a master. But anyway, so I went straight into mergers and acquisition. I worked a lot in Eastern Europe. At points,
You were actually the director for the German Bank of Austria for Russia and Europe, correct?
I was the director for one of the major international banks, not an Austrian bank, an international bank for Russia and Eastern Europe, but that was later. That was not investment banking, that was then private banking. But I started the subsidiary of our investment bank in Ukraine, of all places, Ukraine. And then I came back and I started private banking. I wanted to see another part of the banking business. And after 15 years in private banking, being the director, blah, 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 I left banking and I'm doing now kind of private equity business, investing funds into different companies and entrepreneurial projects, etc., and hope that they will turn out positive.
How long have you been doing this as a private investment banker now?
For 1.5 years.
Oh, you're actually new on the scene.
Well, I'm not really new on the scene. I was always on the scene before, but doing this very particular business is very new. And now we are in new technologies, especially in water desalination, water purification. This is one of the major global problems. We have a lack of fresh and clean water. So this is also a service to the people, giving them clean water, because otherwise we will have famine, we will have wars, water wars coming up. The United Nations is already warning about that. So that's what we try to bring. We have a new technology for that, low energy or no energy water desalination. So that's also one of these things that I'm trying to do. Whenever I do something, I try to give it a certain sense, a certain positive sense, like bringing meaning also to people. That's also one of the things.
As you yourself will be the first to know, converts are often very fervent about the church. And this is a good thing, but cradle Catholics can also be fervent, or they can take it for granted. You are very fervent in your practice of the everyday faith, and you're not afraid to take on debate or to express your faith in very black and white ways. In fact, you're so direct sometimes that I can imagine that people coming from a leftist background would see you as, like I said in the beginning, a pit bull for orthodoxy. I like the directness very, very much, and people who understand German can actually see you in some of your debates on YouTube. Why do you choose to be so direct and so to the point? And so, I don't like to use the word hard, but so, you don't, like I say, you don't pull your punches.
You're destroying the whole picture I have about myself. I always thought that I'm a softie.
Oh, yeah, right.
Loved by everyone. No, I'm not.
No, you're
I'm
not.
Shocked. Horrible. I need to change. No, if you want to be everybody's darling, you're going to end up being everybody's fool. So it's not about being the darling of everyone. It's not about pleasing anyone. It's about standing up for the truth. And there are definitely people who can do that way better than I do. I do it my way. And there are people who love it, and there are people who hate it. What can I do? I don't want to be their darling. I hope I'm not going to end up being their fool. Somewhere in the middle, you know. But at the end, it's about God. What does He want? He gave me certain talents to be rather outspoken, to kind of, it's easy for me to connect to people. You said left-wing people. I have a couple of very good friends who are very left-wing. And we have very
lively conversations.
lively, well, fiery conversations. But still, they're talking to me, and I'm talking to them, and it's good, and we are exchanging our arguments, and why not? It's
healthy.
It's healthy. It's fun. And it's about the truth. It's about the truth, and there are, unfortunately, one of the greatest problems of our society is that most people think that truth does not exist. It's all subjective opinion.
Relativism.
And it's not. It's relativity. Yeah. It's not. Not everywhere is black and white. There is a lot of opinion. But there are some fundamentals where you need to search for truth. Otherwise, you will be totally lost. You will not know where to go. If you get at a crossroads, at some substantially important questions in life, you need to take not just a decision. You need to take the right decision. The decision. Otherwise, you'll end up in a dead-end road. And yeah, that's the thing. So I try, if I talk to people, I try to ask questions. I try to open their eyes, and I hope that they are opening my eyes, and that together we will follow the truth. Very hard, not easy, but sometimes you can open the eyes of people.
You're Austrian.
I do, and I love it.
You love being Austrian, and you've spent time in America.
Yes.
What differences do you see between the church in America versus Austria?
Honestly, that's tough. I can't really say, because well, first of all, definitely I met a certain circle in America. And
you were in Texas and in Washington, D.C.?
No, I was not in Texas. I worked for a congressman from Texas, but in D.C.
In D.C.
So I was in D.C., and I met people in D.C., and obviously when I went to church, it was the Catholic Church. And I was in New York once. I went to the Catholic Church in New York, and I had many very positive experiences, and I had one very bad experience with the priest when I said I'm at the Heritage meeting. He knew the Heritage Foundation, and he was immediately like, oh, these guys, and he was very negative. You have these people and these people. It's hard to compare. I think as a Catholic, we are one big family, and it doesn't matter whether you are an American, whether you're a Mexican, whether you are a Japanese, or, of all places, an Austrian. We are one big family. And I guess the mystery is that if you're a devout Catholic, you will always find the other person, the other devout Catholic, being a soulmate. It's soulmates. It's a big family. We understand each other.
Without ever having
words.
met.
Without ever having met, or without words. We're talking the same language. Even so, it's a very different language. We're talking the same language. And that's very attractive to me.
It's pretty special. It's pretty special.
It is. It's a gift. It's a gift given
by God.
By God. He called us into his family, so we are brethren. We are siblings.
I know this is a loaded question, but I have to ask it. Who's your favorite pope?
No, you don't know. You don't want to know that. You don't want to know that. You know that. You expect me to say, well, I mean, I love, and as in a certain sense, as a spiritual father, it's John Paul II, because he was the Pope of my youth. He was the Pope of my conversion. He was the Pope who called me to several World Youth Days, and I met so many lovely people there. And I cried like a baby when he talked to my heart. He was amazing.
He was amazing, yeah.
But my favorite Pope is the bad Borgia Pope, Alexander VI. And everyone will be shocked. Why, of all places, this guy? Because he knew that he was a sinner. And the second part of the Hail Mary
Holy Mary, Mother of God, etc.
Pray for us sinners, now and in the hour of our death. This comes from Alexander VI. So he knew that he is a sinner, and he knew that alone, if he stands alone in front of God, he will have no chance. But if there is the intercession of the Mother of God for him, he might have
a chance,
a slight, small chance to slip through the heavenly gates. And he knew that, and I'm very grateful for him. for him to give us this prayer. And also, I mean, he gave the church a grandeur.
A grandeur.
He gave it a splendor. He extended the borders of the church state. He fought many battles. Somehow I like him. I don't know. Maybe because I'm.
Well, we never thought you were politically correct.
Yes,
so.
yeah. I'm a bankster, you know that. So yeah, no, I like him.
This is one thing that many people don't get about the Catholic Church. They see sin in the church, or they see abuse in the church, or whatever, and they think that the Catholics are hypocrites. What they don't realize is the reason for the church is because we are sinners, and the church is the way to salvation,
Yes.
and everyone is a sinner. And the just man falls however many times a day, but he continues to try and to try and to try again. And that's why I like your story about your favorite pope.
Yeah, and also this part it's important. We are losing it if we understand that we are sinners and we do not go back to the sacraments. But then we are not Catholics anymore anyways. So as long as we are sinners, but we go back, we fall on our knees in the sacrament of confession, for example, and we ask forgiveness. Even so, we know we will go out and most probably we will sin again, but we know we have to go back into the confessionate and say it again and again,
say it again
and again and again. And we know, if we are good Catholics, we know if we just do it like blah, 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 but if we don't do it out of our heart, then
it means
counts
nothing.
for nothing. Knowing that, I'm talking directly to God, because it's Jesus Christ that I'm talking to if I'm going for confession. And if I know, and He looks into my heart, I can say whatever I want. He knows better. And if the priest says, I forgive your sins, but Jesus says no, then you're in trouble. So I guess this is a grace that the church gives us. It's a huge gift that we know that, and we can go back, and we know we have to confess again. And that makes us slowly, it makes us a better person. Because at some points you'll realize, come on, this is ridiculous. I confess the same stuff already
over and over
10,000 times. Can't I just make it a little longer, not to fall into this particular sin again, until I go to confession again? And you will
but
do
God
it.
forgives us.
And yeah, He always forgives, but we will slowly, gradually, we will get better. That's wonderful.
It is. It's a wonderful gift.
Catholic Church.
The Catholic Church is amazing. You've met Francis.
Yes.
Pope Francis.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Tell me what you think of him. He's very
He's a-
different from
he's a
Benedict.
saint.
He's very different from John Paul II. He has a completely different approach.
Yeah, what a gift. He's a saint. I met him. I mean, I didn't realize that he speaks relatively well German. So I said 1-2 sentences in Italian. The only
He does
sentence.
speak German.
Yeah, he speaks German. But not very well, but he understands.
Yeah.
And instead of talking German to him, which he would have understood, I used my very bad Italian, which he most probably did not understand. But anyway, but it was kind of talking with the eyes, you know? We just looked at each other. We shook hands, and it was, I felt he's a big saint. He's a huge saint. Like Benedict, and like John Paul obviously was. He's a gift to the church. Yes, there is a lot of confusion. Yes, he says a lot of things that you need to think twice and
clarify.
Understand, not even clarify. Many of the things, if you go to the real thing that he said, not to the things that media says he had said, the real stuff.
Very good.
And then you need to think about it. Before, it was so convenient to be a Catholic. You know, Pope Benedict, he's so crystal clear. You can say, well, yeah, obvious, yes, sure.
Very
But with
Germanic.
Pope Francis, it's like, what? And you have to think twice.
Yes.
You have to work on what he said.
It's a different approach, yes.
And I'm grateful for that, because he's challenging us. We are not lazy Catholics anymore. We are, we have to work on that. We have to listen. If the media says, oh, what did he say about if you punch you, or if you insult my mother, I'll punch you back. No, he didn't say it that way, first of all. But then, yes, he's right. And I love what he said. I had to go read the real stuff and then say, and he's right.
And he's right.
And he's right. Absolutely. I love him. He's great.
Well, that's a great note to end on. Christof Zellenberg, it's wonderful to meet and talk to someone who's so honest and
It's my
enthusiastic about the faith.
It's my pleasure.
And I'd like to thank everybody who joined us for another edition of our Catholic programming here in the heart of Vienna, Austria. Stay tuned. See you next time.